kick it off.
3, 2,
let you go.
1. All right, team. Welcome to the EMP show, mate. Me and Luke are absolutely fucking pumped to have Geoff Jowett on, mate. I've been listening to some of his stuff recently. First, actually heard you on the U Project with Craigie. I've loved all your episodes. Loved your insight to life, your story. So many lessons. I actually hear you talk now on Instagram. Like, it makes so much sense to me. You've learned a lot of lessons and, hardships that you can sort of pass on to so many people. I think your insight to life, success, your journey, so relatable to most people, mate. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, boys. Thank you.
Pleasure, mate.
How's day been, mate? Good?
Mate, it's been a cracking day. I've been up riding my horse and bit of consulting work, and here we are. And mate, it's just I'm very fortunate that life these days is great, and it's not a bloody facade like it was in my 20s and 30s, and it was looked great, but I was fucked. But now I don't really care what it looks like, and it's good. So
mate, you're a big jockey, but aren't you?
Mate, I'm a big jockey. I'm a bit smaller than I used to be, but
mate, you look like a bigger Glenn Boss.
It's funny. I'll have to send this to Bossy because I was talking. Glenn's a friend. I was on the phone to Bossy this morning. We're playing golf on Monday together, and we know each other not through horses, just through mutual friends. And I happened to text Bossy last night and mate, you want to play golf Monday? And he's like, I'm in, count me in. And I've done a few speaking jobs and people have gone, I thought it was Bossy that was doing the keynote.
You look like Schwinn.
His shoulders are too big for Bossy. Yeah.
Mate, I wish I could ride a horse like that.
I was about to say that.
He can ride it.
Mate, what
he can ride him. I said to him today, I said, mate, you play golf as good as you ride a horse. He goes, no.
Close. Oh, Geoff, mate. So obviously, mate, if people live under a rock, mate, you were on TV, television doing the commercials for years, mate. Bodytrim commercials. Bodytrim. And I've got to apologise. When I first heard Bodytrim, I was thinking to myself, supplements. And that's what I thought Bodytrim was. I was probably a bit young. But mate, you first sold educational DVDs and videos. That was your thing.
Yeah, well, we started, me and Andrew started Vision PT back in 99, and I was involved with that, franchising that until like the mid-2000s, and then I sold out and started Bodytrim. And, we started with DVDs, and that was really about identifying a gap in the market as I saw it, that the education piece and a lot of people were just a bit lost with how do I lose weight? And I'd been a bodybuilder and personal trainer, and I didn't mind a chat, so I thought we'll do some DVDs. And if I went out a bit more hair up top like you blokes, and
not too much,
mate. Next minute I'm on the morning show and Sunrise, and just absolutely being a serial pest in everyone's lounge room.
Loving it. I've heard so many actually episodes of you talking about Bodytrim and obviously vision personal training. You still got out of that, but we kind of sort of focus on the end part of it. I want to know sort of like at the start of your career when you're a bit younger.
Mate, focus on whatever you want. Rip in.
Yeah, rip into everything. So when you're a bit younger, mate, when you first started, when you first, you're a kid, what was you growing up like? How were you? What made you so, you obviously got a massive entrepreneurial mind. We always like when you were younger, did you have something, did you have a sort of chip on your shoulder to get to where you want? How did you kind of get there? What made you
It's a very good question. I'm glad you asked it. So it says a lot about you blokes to ask a question like that. So credit to you because that's what drives us early on, right? And so I was your, I guess, academically quite bright. I went to a selective school, but I was never a standout. Apart from standing out in maths, where he said, "Mate, you can just do the rest of the year outside," because I couldn't get my head around it. But that was 2 unit as well. No, it wasn't. No, we had 2 unit, but we didn't have maths in society at Sydney Tech. They didn't have it, so I was just hopeless back then at maths. But I was never great at anything. Like I was never awesome. I was average at Sydney Tech School. I was average at sport. I was average with the girls. I was just average. I was average or thereabouts, right? And I reckon in answer to your question, that was a catalyst that drove me in business because I didn't want to be average. And
Yeah.
I think, and I think with that comes a bit of insecurity. I wasn't exactly, blessed with Brad Pitt genetics and whatnot, average looking bloke, average at sports, average. And so then you start a business and you're not average, right? And all of a sudden, in your mind, when you're 20, 21, then all of a sudden you matter. You're important.
Yeah.
And that's not bad or good. What that is that all of a sudden you feel significant and you're someone in the world. But for me, then that ran away with me because that is like that fans the flame of ego. And if you're not careful, that soon is followed by entitlement. And then if you're not careful, you think you're better than other people. You went from feeling less than other people to feeling you're better than other people. And that was ego to me is nothing more than a shield for insecurity and low self-esteem. And that was really what I was. So that was what drove me to build businesses when I was younger.
Yeah. So did you kind of what was your first business venture, mate? Because we've heard all the ones that worked. We heard Vision, Bodytrim.
Sure.
I know you also went into sort of the medical side of things after Bodytrim. Is that correct? Yeah. So
that definitely didn't work. We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah. Well, mate, actually, my good friend actually worked for you. I'm pretty sure, and he reckons it was one of the best businesses I've heard. But he had a bit of troubles, obviously, with the government things, the sort of regulations and things happened, didn't it? But it was an awesome business. But what happened at the very start of your business?
Tell me it was offline later, and So, well, way back when, mate, the first business I had was Geoff's mowing service when I was 14.
Jeff's mowing.
I think I was 12. I think I fired up some little posters on the Commodore 64, and I bought the next door neighbour a paddle pop to letterbox drop them for me, and I got clients in the local area, and I mowed their lawns and made a bit of dough, and so I think the entrepreneurial spirit was there young, right? So I look back at that, and I don't know if that's that normal. Even to leverage time, the younger bloke next door, I'm like, I'll buy you a couple of ice blocks, go drop these off. And so at a very young age, I'm like, I was probably a bit lazy. Oh, no, I wasn't lazy. I just thought it was a bit of a natural thing for, he can have a couple of ice creams, he'll do that. And I mowed the lawns. And obviously there were some limitations there when you're 12 because I could only push the mower to the joint. So I couldn't exactly expand. But off I went. And then I worked at a bait and tackle store in a fishing shop because I liked fishing when I was at school. And then I was a personal trainer at Club Physical Sylvania, which became Healthland Sylvania. And that was we got booted out of there when we grew too big, and that was what the catalyst for starting Vision PT at Caringbah, because we got punted. So we had to do our own. We didn't have a choice, and off we went. But in terms of business, where the wheels fell off, I think the thing for me which made the rock bottom or the fuck up bigger was that I had a lot of winners before that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like whatever I touched turned to gold. So I didn't know failure.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a bit of a trap in itself to youngsters doing well. Just be mindful of that, because it doesn't just do this and you can get complacent. And that was what happened with medical weight loss, in the sense that very good concept. Medical weight loss, doctors, blood tests, but I didn't have the back office. The ducks weren't all in a row. It wasn't tight. Systems weren't where they needed to be, and that made us vulnerable to scrutiny and whatnot. And we were scrutinised, and we did get hammered. And I look back, and it was whilst it was brutal at the time, it worked out really well, because it made me look at myself and make big changes in my life. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be happy where I am today. But same with Bodytrim. We had a great run. My ego ran away with me. I had a very smart business partner, and we just got to a stage. I think we both had pretty solid egos at that point, and the partnership broke down, and then the business did. It wasn't really the business; it was more us. Mate, he's a good bloke. We still talk. It was as much my fault, if not more, and you learn a lot from that. He's gone on to do other things, as have I, and you take your medicine and you learn your lessons. But all my mistakes came out of ego and entitlement. When you think you're better than someone,
Yeah.
or your staff or any of that, sooner or later you're going to trip over.
Yeah, mate. Mate, you're 100% correct there. So obviously vision was your first big thing. You know, that's a huge business now. I'm like, that's a massive business now. So
Yeah.
how did that start there with Andrew? I'm pretty sure Andrew Simmons.
Yeah,
is that correct?
Simo.
Andrew Simmons, yeah. So how'd that come along?
What happened was we were both personal trainers at Club Physical, and Andrew was very good with systems and processes, and I was kind of good sales marketing. And we teamed up. We hired a trainer. 18 months later, we had 20 of them, and we were doing like 1,000 sessions a week. It just exploded. But in saying that, that was at the start of PT, right? So
Yeah.
that was, you know, blue ocean. It was very new. We were both hungry. We had very, very complementary skill sets, systems, processes, sales and marketing. So I grew it, he systemized it, and it just took off. And we were young, and I was, you know, 10 foot tall and bulletproof and couldn't fail. And off we, so it was a bit of that. I wasn't risk averse at all. And that kind of helped him. He was a bit more conservative. He's an accountant prior to being a trainer. And so the synergies were there with our skills, and we took off. We emulated Bill Phillips' Body for Life a lot with 12-week challenges. I was the Australian spokesperson for Body for Life, and we leveraged off that back when that was pumping. And then Fitness First said, look, guys, you've done well, but look, we're going to do our own. So you can't take on any more trainers. And if any of them leave, you can't replace them. So I said, oh, fucking thanks heaps. That's awesome. And off we went. We did our own, and we opened up in Caringbah, and that took off. And then we used to present at fitness expos each year, and there was a mob in America who'd franchised fitness together, and they had 500 of them. So someone told us about them, and I said to Simo, mate, we've got to go meet this bloke. And 3 weeks later, we're on a plane, and we met him, and we learned a lot, and came back and, you know, used some of the stuff we'd learned to fit our model better, and we grew more. And then after a few years, typical me, I got bored and, you know, disease of more. So this wasn't enough. I needed more. So, you know, I call it destination addiction. I was never happy where I was. I needed more. So really, I kind of just said, oh, mate, I'm going to go. And worst time ever to go. Like, we were just franchising. We'd done all the hard work. Like, you couldn't go at the worst time ever in the history of business, but I did. So winning. And but off I went and did Bodytrim, and that ramped up, and that was another winner. And it was I kind of succeeded in spite of myself for many years, really, if I had to look at it looking back retrospectively. And then over time, it wasn't until the wheels fell off and I hit the piss and, you know, lost my way, and I didn't really learn the lessons then. I sat in my own victim mindset, misery, and the world's shit and it's not fair for about a year, as I potted down to AA. And then I got 2 little dogs, and then I just started to realize, hang on, well, probably can't be the world that's fucked. It's probably me, because I'm the only one that's been there throughout all of it. So maybe look at myself instead of blaming everyone else. And around that time, it starts to change and life starts to get good.
So let's go into that, Geoff. What was the one turning point that led you down that path, mate, of all the alcohol and so forth, and that 1 year period where you are probably your deepest? Place?
Well, if it was probably doing businesses and making decisions that my best self wouldn't do. And I was sort of, you get caught up in the kind of the fanfare, and you got a lot of enablers around you when you're making a lot of dough, and you know, and then you're kind of an F-grade celebrity and you're hanging out with proper celebrities, and you just turn into a dickhead, and it just spirals. And then it's normal to get on the piss each night and have if you're a bit dusty, you just have a line of Coke in the morning. I'm pretty sure that's not normal last time I looked, but it was for me. And it was madness, mate. It was madness. It was complete madness, right? But we had 100+ staff, and you could be dysfunctional and it would still work. But there's no happiness at the end of that. There's only misery and despair. And that was kind of where I got to. And it was, I think when medical weight loss business fell over, that was I'm done. That was like, you know what? I'm done. My way doesn't fucking work because it's too hard and I want to neck myself and I'm fucked. So I've just got to, I'm done. So that's when I started going to AA and NA, and I just went, my way doesn't work. Like it can't be this hard.
Yeah. Was this 2018 that happened? Early 2017, or was that?
No, this was at the back end of
2000.
17, 18, 19. This is back into 2016.
16. Okay. Yeah. So like, the thing is, like, obviously, it's always you're chasing a high. You know, your addiction to success. You know, money. It's not just one sort of facet. Is that what most people have? There was obviously the ability to want more, always chasing something higher, whether it's training or and that's sometimes training can be a healthy obsession. It's a healthy way of doing it. You know, bodybuilding, success, money, fame. Is that something you always had from a young age, or was it trying to prove yourself right a bit, or prove them wrong, or how did it sort of come about like that mentality of wanting more?
I think, well, my parents were school teachers, great people, but quite strict. And I think I just wanted probably approval and praise and validation. I wanted validation.
Yeah.
Right? Really, I was thirsty for validation that you're successful and you're great and you're blah, blah, blah. And as we all know later in life, that it's, it's an internal thing. It's an inside job. And so I changed, I guess, my framework around that. So in terms of looking externally, I looked internally and defining myself by actions, not achievements, and how I live my life each day, and making sure that I do what I say I'm going to do to the highest and best standard, and blah, blah, blah. And instead of just cutting corners to get the trophy and recognition, because they say babies cry for it, men die for it, recognition. So that was I wanted all of that stuff. And there's not enough of it on earth to fill that void internally. So, but it wasn't until the wheels fell off and I didn't have a choice, that I changed. I wouldn't have changed if the wheels didn't fall off.
Yeah. A rock bottom moment.
Yeah. And we had offices all around the world with Bodytrim. And so it was a larger than life thing. And I was part of it, and it just, it just runs away with you.
And did you eventually sell Bodytrim, or just you collapse completely?
We sold the brand to Vitaco. They own Aussie Bodies and Masashi, and a public company. We sold the brand, but the business went into administration, and that was a complete mess. But the brand lived on, thankfully. And then the next mistake, getting back to a previous question, was then I was playing catch up. Yeah. So I've got to get back to making this much money. I've got to get back on my feet, get back there faster now. And so you just, you're hustling, and you're just in a race, and sort of sometimes you got to lick your wounds and take your medicine. And just, be in it's like playing catch up footy. It doesn't work. You're throwing speculators and intercept guys and same thing. Yeah.
So at that time, the office of a Bodytrim, it sounds a bit of chaos. Like, what was your office like? Was that the culture in the whole Bodytrim office? I know you don't want to probably dob people in or something like that, but was that the culture Bodytrim was like?
Oh, mate, I just dobbed myself in. It was, exactly. It was, I caused it. Look, my life was Wolf of Wall Street. Like that was what it was. It was madness. To give you an example, I used to, I would, how can I put this politically or correctly or something? I don't know if you can, because it wasn't.
Say how you want it. Say how you want it.
But I used to have a lot of female friends who may have been adult dancers, let's call them, and they'd come in for bodgy job interviews and for people's birthdays, and we had 100+ staff in the office.
Yeah.
In the middle of the CBD, for God's sake. And, everyone would be in on it except the birthday person, and then the music would go on, and whoosh, and away you go. And, mate, and I'd say, look, mate, we need to get you an assistant. You're too busy. And I got someone coming in for an interview, and it was just chaos. It was complete chaos. But leadership, that's terrible, because you're setting... Like, you've got a duty of care to your staff. You're not exactly, that's madness. It's rubbish. And people get caught up in it because it's like a movie. That shit's like a movie. It was a movie. Like, it was the stuff that went on. And I'm kind of giving you the PG/M version here, but it was that and a whole lot more. And it's exciting for people, but there's no moral compass.
Yeah.
and you're not really leading by example. You're not setting people up to live their best life. It's just this rock star kind of
Craziness.
facade, craziness. Yeah. And it just, we got what we deserved. I got what I deserved is the bottom line.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. How long were
I'll
you?
stop in your tracks on that one, boys.
Yeah, well,
No,
it's just amazing. You look at such a successful company back then, obviously, and people would have no idea that any of this is going on behind the scenes. Like from the front, it just looks so successful. You're all over TV, but to even hear what's going on in the background, I'm sure for many people would just be baffled.
Yeah, it
baffled.
was pretty wild. It was, and I'm not proud of it. But I own it.
Yeah.
and it's part of the journey, and you take ownership of your mistakes and the person that you were, and you try and you commit to being better. That's all you can do. But look, in saying that, it was a catalyst for a lot of amazing careers for people, and we were smart operators. We were just loose.
Yeah. That's part of the hero's journey, isn't it, mate? That's your hero's journey. That's a story behind your whole, everything.
Oh, mate, yeah, it's I've got a
amazing.
copywriter.
Yeah,
a few copywriter friends from back in the day, and they're like, mate, your life is the hero's journey. It's
up and down.
Textbook.
I've heard you on a few podcasts before, and you're always sort of quite harsh on yourself. Obviously, you've made a few mistakes, but the thing is, all your businesses have seemed to want to help people. There's the whole key thing is always wanting to help people. Like, you haven't done something too bad. Has that always been your whole life? Wanting to help people and actually, make their life better.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, deep down, that's what drives me. But where I came undone was I got ticklish for all the
good stuff,
the bright lights.
Yeah.
So that's at the core of Geoff Jowett, is that.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I love. But then when I was younger, I start out with the best intentions, but all of a sudden it's Vegas over there. Right. So it's, that was what was always at the core of me, Vision PT, Bodytrim, and so forth. But I wasn't evolved and aware enough, and also, I guess comfortable in myself and living a simple life, and that you'd have meteoric success, and next minute you're off to the races. You're high on that, not why you started it, and you get lost in it, and it's very common. You see it a lot.
Yeah. Now with moving forward a bit, things like the Jowett method and stuff like that, have you found now that this is in line with your purpose? Or what do you define purpose as? We always say purpose, potential, all these big words. People are saying you want to live your purpose. And even with me and Luke, we're helping people inside the gym and running, small group training, and people, try and improve their lives. But purpose is this people are trying to search for it. What is it?
Great question. So I reckon my purpose, like everyone else, is to be happy.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone, all these fucking entrepreneur magazines, and what's your legacy? And I said to a young bloke like 6 months ago, I said, mate, fuck the legacy.
Yeah.
Because no one cares.
Yeah.
No one actually gives a rat's ass. Literally. So the sooner we realise that, the better. Purpose is to be happy, be a good human, be happy. You can't be a good human if you're unhappy.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
Right. So you got to be happy now. But in terms of a commercial purpose, for example, I started the Jowett method a couple of years ago. I don't do that anymore. I just do business consulting, speaking, because business strategy growth, it stimulates me. It's sort of grow your business, love your life. If I write one more diet, I may jump off the balcony. I'm joking, but I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. 20 years, I'm done. Someone hit me up to be the face of a weight loss brand last year. I said, no, thanks. It doesn't, I'm done. I'm a fish. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. It's not above or beneath me. I've just done it. Yeah. I'm done. Business stuff I love because it's ever changing, and I've got 20 plus years of it, so it's fun.
Yeah. And when you say legacy, mate, when someone goes to me, I want to leave a legacy, it's I want someone I want to have a big ego to think that I want people to talk to me when I'm gone. Do you know what I mean? Rather than impact the people when you're in life now. Do you know what I mean? I can imagine,
Spot on.
I listened to you and Craig, and I only just recently found you probably like 6 months ago. I listened to all the episodes with Craigie, and I was like, fuck, like if someone had a conversation with you and Craig, I'm not trying to like hold wind up your ass, like you'd actually remember it. You'd remember the words you say, and that's the impact you want to have on people. And you're raw, mate. You're authentic too. That's the thing I say. Like everyone's like, there's a guy like Tony Robbins who's a godfather of all this kind of stuff. And I enjoy Tony Robbins, but like the thing is when I hear you and Greg talk, like, fuck, that guy's actually done it. That guy's actually had the success, had the problems,
it's sort
had
of,
the things.
Tony's great and like he's incredible. And I'm not in any way being condescending or disrespectful, but I think the thing is that, I spent 20 plus years starting up companies and businesses and doing all of it, in the boardroom, in the shit fight, in the hurricane. And then I fell into coaching and speaking. It wasn't a planned career move. It was just people started reaching out. And for me now, I love it because I don't really want to run a big company anymore. I've got horses and ride my dogs. I ride my horses. I walk them, break their back.
RSPCA.
Animal welfare. No. I walk my dogs. I ride my horses. I play golf. I say work, dogs, golf, horses, repeat. So I keep it simple. I don't have any fuckwits in my life, no victims, no negative people. I've got a very, very clear framework on who I am and what I do and how I live. And if people don't fit the framework, then they don't fit me, and that's fine. No dramas. I was a people pleaser because I needed to be liked because I had low self-esteem. But then I started to like myself and I didn't need to be liked anymore, and life gets simple.
Yeah, I think that's a big lesson a lot of people can take.
Hugely. And that's 100%, man. Yeah. Very, very true. Now let's go. The Horsies and Dogs, mate. Your dogs are super special to you, mate. Your dogs are super special to you. I've seen you. They're probably your best mates, No,
without a doubt.
No doubt. So tell me the relationship,
What dogs do you have, firstly and foremost, for people out there?
Oh, mate, don't judge me.
No.
But,
poodles?
No, poodles. Well, maybe arguably less masculine.
No,
but,
less masculine.
Mate, I've got they're Japanese Spitz cross Pomeranian.
Yeah, cute.
So they're
assuming they're tiny.
Yeah, they're weighing it. Well, they're a little bit overweight. They've been in a good paddock, but
grass fed.
They're about 10 kilos.
Bodytrim, get them on Bodytrim.
They need pet trim. There's an idea.
Pet trim, there you go. Oh, you are a businessman after all.
Diary note of that, pet trim. So so the boy, I'm great friends with my ex-fiance, and we got them together. And when we broke up, she let me keep them, and that probably saved my life. The dogs, they were just they're just love. They're just simple. They love routine and structure. They want for nothing other than consistency. And that chapter in my life just taught me about life, not scaling businesses, but life, and gave me a home setting. And every night, I sit on the couch, the dogs are there, and it's like, this is perfect. Not when I got the penthouse, now. Perfect now. And then that kind of segued into horses, and same sort of thing. Because the thing about animals, they can't talk, so there's no bullshit.
Yeah.
It's energy, it is actions. It's not words, it's actions. And it was funny, my dog walker, Caroline, I was up riding my horse this morning, and she sent a little video, and Harry especially, all these dogs are in my apartment. Harry's on the lounge, and she's filmed it. And Harry, when I get home, he goes mental. If I take the fucking rubbish out, I come back a minute later, he's off his head. He's like, Dad, he went back to sleep on the couch. She filmed it. He's looked up. He's going, oh, fuck it. Went back to sleep. They're just incredible beings. And they were rescue dogs. We dead set saved each other. They'd been hammered and I'd been hammered, and we healed each other. And it's unbelievable. And, the simple things I often say to people, if you got a dog, and, if they say no, I go, well, you need to get one. Because they're the best reset button. They get you out of your head. Everybody's job's easy, but what's hard is getting out of your head.
Yeah.
We just get stuck in our head, and yesterday, tomorrow, or the bloke down the road, comparison bullshit.
Yeah.
I take them down the park, and, as we go down to the park, it's the best moment of their life every day, every time. And like, there's a magic to that.
Yeah, totally. And obviously, you know, jumping on a horse as well. It's just,
Mate, yeah, they're
it's-
yeah. I was very lucky with the horses. I got into that in 2018. Actually, New Year's Day 2018, I had a lesson because I wasn't going to icebergs, that's for sure. Because I was a year sober, so there's no ice, you know. So
yeah.
But well, fuck, what do you do? And so I got a horse riding lesson. And because when you give up the piss after 20 years of being loose, you're like, well, what do you do? I didn't know what you do, right? So it's like learning to walk again. And turns out there's heaps you can do. And got a lesson, and that the rest is history. And then I got into show jumping, and the people who owned a show jumping school retired, and they gave me one of their horses, who's now my horse. And it's just a wonderful sort of partnership journey, and you learn a lot about yourself. And that, yeah, it's just my life is very full with life. And the great thing about having a hobby for people owning businesses is it gives you what I call width. See, if all you do is work and home, you've got no width. So you obsess about problems at work. And in many ways, you become the problem because you can't let it go and let things play out. And you get attached to outcomes. Whereas I can work, ride my horse, work, walk my dogs, work, play golf. So I've got width. So I don't overthink. And then I come back with perspective because of that width. Yeah. So that makes me more effective with every business that I'm in, every client, every CEO, because I've got width. I can go in and come out. I can go in and come out. I'm not just in it the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. More energy to burn for that certain time that you're involved within the business.
100%.
Yeah. Effective. Like my standards today are 100% or zero. Like I will not compromise that. So when I'm here, I'm here. I'm not half here. I'm here. I'm immersed. I'm here. And then I stop. And I talk to clients about turning your head on and turning it off. Don't just leave it idling in the background. And I spent a lot of time learning how to like actually find a stillness and a calm and a peace in myself. And then I turn the head on and I work, and then I turn it off and then it on. I'm not just caving it in the whole time.
Yeah, mate. And that's honestly, that's I've probably just learned something there. That's something that I can probably go take away and be like, fuck, I need to work on this, because, you know, we're 8 months into, you know, a new business ourselves, opening the gym during COVID. You know, times have been tough, but it's like, and I do take a lot on personally. Where I do go home and I am still thinking about, fuck, how are we going to grow this business? How are we going to get more members and whatever else? So that there's probably struck a chord with me, where I can actually take that away and be like, all right, I need to expand my width a bit more. So when I am coming in to the business, you know, my energy is 100% rather than trying to think about it.
Yeah, because you're pouring from an empty cup, mate. Like even like last one, I'm tired. You're used to running off adrenaline. You're like adrenaline, coffee. You can't drink so many shots in a day, can you? And how many lines you have in a day? You know what I mean? Like you can't.
That's right.
And then you said like you're rock bottom, you're done. You know, you're done completely. You live a life full of gratitude now, Geoff. That's what I hear. Like you're so grateful for life, you know, and you've probably got a lot less before, like a lot less than you had before, but you're actually fully grateful for it, rather than, you know, you're chasing instant gratification before, the instant high into this. Talk to us a different feeling. Obviously, when you know, how you had Bodytrim, had those businesses, you're making a lot of money, you're probably on the outside happy. What's the difference? What's the feeling inside? Is it more calmness and more stillness? What is it? How do you feel different?
It's a great question. I guess now I've got nothing to prove.
Yeah.
So I could, mate, if I could, I do what I do now because I've got a skill set with business, and fucking business is hard, right? If you haven't done it. So it's like helping people lose weight was really rewarding because it was hard for them. But I've done that for a long time, and it's not stimulating anymore. Now, for me, and the challenge also with weight loss is it's not about the diet, it's about the head, right? So I didn't want to do another diet unless they get their head right, because I think it's not food addiction, it's thought addiction. It's not alcohol addiction, it's thought addiction. It's not Coke addiction, it's thought addiction. So it's turning this off.
Yeah.
So I do that with execs in their business, and yeah, by default, they lose weight and all that shit. It all just happens. But trying to monetize that into a weight loss program is impossible because it's not tangible and
Doesn't sell.
it's a bit fluff. So that you couldn't monetize that on scale. It wouldn't work. So like I do what I do now because I get a great feeling, a contribution out of it. It's very rewarding. It's energizing. It's like I could do 4 or 5, one-on-one consultations. I'm energized by the end of it. I'm not flat. I'm not drained. So that's a good sign. And at the end of the day, like I used to say, like, I am enough. I have enough. It's perfect now. Somewhere along the line, I just went, this is fucking great. I'm not stressed. I'm not anxious. I'm at peace. The work I do, I know is good. It's valuable. It is genuinely helping, and that's enough for me. It's hard because there's a fine line, but like I guess my stuff is giving people the head stuff to build bigger businesses, but not needing trophies.
Yeah.
You will get more, you will, but I don't need the fucking accolades. I'm happy in the background, right? Like, and I think I say to people, when you love the process more than the result, you've arrived.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
The journey over the destination.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And being able to stay present. And you brought up Bossy before, the lookalike, and Bossy said to me a while ago with the big races, like he's won the Melbourne Cup 3 times, I think, Bossy. And he said to me that when he wins a big race, everyone's like, oh, mate, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? And he says to them every time, nothing.
Yeah.
Enjoyed them.
Because he's immersed in the process. He's not thinking about the speech or the, he's so immersed. And he's arguably the best big race rider in Australia, if not the world. He's so bloody good at it. He's like Michael Jordan. He's a mystic. He's deeply present in the process, and that culminates in massive success.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Like now, how old are you now, Jeffy?
Mate, 44. I look about 80, but
It's a good number. 44 is a good number. Very good number.
How old are you?
30.
30. Look 50.
I was going to say, yeah, turn it up. Yeah, right, 30. But mate, I reckon alcohol's preserving.
Yeah.
Appendix A, it's not.
Mate,
That's a stitch up.
I want to know, mate. I was gonna say 5. Give me your 3 biggest values, because I find that the things you do, you gotta be super clear on what's important to you, and if you're not doing those things that are important to you, you're not gonna be fucking happy. And when people start thinking about what their values are, they're not living in them, and they go, "Fuck, well, that's why I'm miserable." So now at 44, what are your 3 biggest values in life, and what do they actually mean to you?
Okay, so one of the things that you can't go wrong doing the right thing.
Yeah.
One of my biggest values is take my dogs to the park every day.
Yeah.
Because that they save my life, and I don't take my phone. I feel like getting people's phones down at Rushcutters Bay and just throwing them in the harbour. Like, get off your fucking phone and give your dog the love it deserves. You're not that important. And if you can't fucking walk your dog and actually be focused on that, you are doing life wrong.
Yeah.
Like, so that's a value for me. Like, love animals. Like, be kind. Don't be a fuckwit. Like, that's sort of all sort of, related. But the dogs thing's a big thing for me. The stuff around what I do when no one's watching. So, say it's, I don't know, I buy something and it's fucking, I give them $50 and they give me $30 back and they should have given me 20. I give them the 10 back.
Yeah.
The win is not the extra 10. The win is the opportunity to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Now, energetically, that does something to me.
Yeah.
It changes me when I do that because I'm living on a higher level.
Yeah.
Now, the irony and the paradox of that, I'm far more ruthless than I've ever been with everything because I've got a framework that I operate within and I know myself. And when you live your values, you've got high values and standards, you don't need to please anyone because you know. When you don't have values and standards, you need validation and approval, because deep down inside, you also know that you're not doing it.
Yeah.
So the way I work and the way that I consult is I'm very black and white. Payments up front. Can we have a chat before we start? No. No, we can't. No. Have a think about it. Might not be a fit for you. No, we can't. I got enough clients. It's not my job to save you. It's my job to save me. Have a think. Might not be the fit. Bang, via text. Ironically, everybody jumps in because they're like, oh, there's a saying, you can't lead what you need. I don't do it for that reason. I'll tell you this, hand on heart. Taking my dogs to the park is far more important than talking to some fucking person I've never met about if I could help them.
Yeah. No, mate.
That ain't my job. My job's to help me. My dog saved my life. They're my priority. Whether fucking Barry Smith jumps on or not my problem. Barry can work that out.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm blunt, and I am ruthless with my values and standards and priorities for the things in my life. And if people don't like it, that's okay. If people don't like me, that's okay. It didn't used to be okay because I wasn't okay. But when I got okay, it was.
Yeah.
So if you look back 20 years, Geoff, to the younger Geoff Jowett, would that be the one thing that you tell that person right now?
Mate, there's plenty. Geez, mate, he was a fuck unit back then, so he needed a lot.
He had a good time, but he had a good time.
He had a good time, but he was a fuck unit.
Yeah.
But, mate, I think, oh God, if there was one thing, I'd say anonymity is cool. It's not shit. You're not no one if people don't know your name. Like, I was such a tool that I needed to be like on TV, and I needed to be in the spot. I needed people to know who I was, to feel like I mattered. Now I don't.
Yeah.
A lot to that, but like I used to think, if people don't know you, you're no one. But the people I admire the most, no one fucking knows them.
Yeah.
Because they're not thirsty for fucking fame.
Yeah. Some that there. That's so important, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So
Fame's a byproduct. So I'll give you a good example. Daniel McPherson, he's an actor. He's a dear friend. Like, fame was a byproduct. He doesn't enjoy it. He doesn't crave it. Doesn't really want it. But he's an actor, so he gets famous. Sometimes you will have a profile and you'll be famous because of your craft. But if you're chasing fame, it will bury you.
That's obviously like money too, financially as well. If you're chasing
100%.
that. Yeah.
Money never leads, it follows. It must follow. So important. You chase money, you fuck yourself. It's terrible. Gone.
Yeah. And what are you most your clients like CEOs or you have high level, or do you have sort of
So they're all pretty much business owners, or they might be salespeople that a sales manager or an exec's having trouble with, and I might sort of try and get them unstuck, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of that. Generally business owners, but like my last client in New Zealand, she's got barber shops in New Zealand. So it's a whole lot of different industries. Big business, small business, because a lot of the challenge with small business for a lot of people, as it was me, that you can have one business and it gets successful. But what do you do next? No one actually fucking tells you that. So like you start and you just don't want to go bust, and then you don't go bust. But fuck, what do I do now? Because you've got to, if you're either evolving or devolving, you're either growing or dying. It doesn't just stay. It doesn't plateau. So like, what do I do then? And helping people navigate that path and how to scale to have leverage, not have less leverage.
So you obviously talked about strategy and mindset, how to become better leaders, better, is that correct?
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Like the mindset stuff just empties their head so they can think. And then when they can think, then we actually get strategic about what we're going to do next.
That's awesome, mate.
These days, big man, are you still training?
Mate, I did 20 push-ups in the first lockdown.
Come in.
No,
You're
I'm done. I
25.
hung up the boots. Mate.
Hung up the
Now I'm-
boots.
Mate, well, look, I never say never, but like after 25 years of bodybuilding and competing and I'm still, mate, I think, and I'm not going to lie, I did take a fair bit of juice back in the day. So I was, my body now, I could dead set look at a dumbbell and I'd put on 5 kilo of muscle. It's bizarre.
Good.
Wow.
I go to I play golf and I'm riding my horse a lot more now and sort of out of the saddle and getting along, and just the core work, doing that, you sort of tone up a bit. And I was at the golf club the other day and someone's like, "Oh, mate, you're back in the gym." I'm like, "I'm not." And they're like, "Bullshit." But I'm not going to lie to you. Fuck. Like, it's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
but years of, bodybuilding, competing, that sort of thing. And you do your body, I think it must just, it's like a balloon or something. It just remembers but I get my meals and I eat well. I don't eat fucking KFC every day, but because I'm busy with life, like half the reason people are obese is they're fucking bored and lonely. So I'll just eat. You're not actually hungry. You're just bored and lonely, but I'm not bored and lonely and I'm busy. My activity level's high.
Yeah.
So you have breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe a snack and off you go. It's just that. It's not like intergalactic fucking macronutrients.
Yeah. Yeah. No, awesome, man. Geoff, final question. Where do you want to be in 10 years' time? Obviously doing what you're doing now, loving it. But where do you want to be? Where's
Riding a Melbourne Cup.
Riding a Melbourne Cup.
Ah,
70 kilos. Must be a big horse. So,
mate, it's a good question. The answer is
Happy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't give it a whole heap of thought because what I'm doing now is working. And I'm dear friends with John McGrath, who founded McGrath Real Estate, and he asked me a similar question 2 years ago. He's like, "GJ, mate, this is all going good. What's next?" And I said, "Mate, more of the same." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, mate, this is good. Doesn't have to be a next."
Yeah.
Like, what if there doesn't have to be a next? There's a radical concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, there doesn't have to be a next. I spent my whole life trying to do next. Didn't fucking work. I'm happy and I make money and I pay the bills and I save a bit. And like, I'd like it to keep going on that path and just seeing where that path takes me. I'm open to things. It doesn't have to go any one way for me anymore. Like I'm sort of, if I'm happy where I am doing what I'm doing, keep doing it. If I'm not, I need to look at it.
good. That's awesome, mate. It's very much, it's like, that's the same thing, like wanting more. You've got a great life. You know what you're doing. That's me, like, obviously me and Luke have like, business, we're trying to reverse engineer what our happiness is. What is your happiness? And how do people are a whole lot closer sometimes in their life to create that perfect life. They're trying to shoot that $1 million a year, wage or profit where they're happy off 150 grand a year, and their life doesn't actually get happier from the extra money. It's probably something you've learned the hard way, probably.
Yeah.
You're probably.
Mate, I've got a theory on that as well as we wrap up. I've got a theory that having made millions of dollars a year and knowing a lot of people who do, I don't know many people at all that make personal income over $1 million a year that are happy.
No.
So, like, if you can make a few $100,000 a year, that's a great life. Now, for me, I reckon the sweet spot, if you want to aspire to a certain amount of money, it's not 20 million a year or 5 or 10. For me, like 500 grand a year is more than enough for me to do whatever the fuck I want without having a massive fucking machine that I have to oversee all the time. We can shoot right past the sweet spot on the road to glory because we don't need as much dough as we think we actually do to have a fucking awesome life.
Yeah. True, mate. Very
Awesome.
good.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mate, Geoff,
Pleasure, mate.
thanks so much for your time,
Thanks,
mate.
boys.
Thanks so much,
Mate.
mate. We'll pause the video,
Yeah.
but we'll say goodbye to you after this.
Fantastic.
Mate, awesome. Listen to all the episodes, team, on all the platforms.
Yeah, and make sure you share this one, guys, with
The King, Geoff Jowett.
Yeah.
Jockey, coming.
All right. Thanks,
Jockey,
big man.
what
Just
a
hold
bit.
on for a sec.
Thanks, guys.
Jeff, thanks, Ace, mate.
One sec.
No worries, boys. That was good. We got